we have looked at two examples that involves interior angles of a triangle and adding those angles up to equal 180 degrees. We are still going to need to use interior angles, but we're going to add something new. We're going to add exterior angles. And what we need to know, first of all, is what is an exterior angle? Well, if we look this triangle here in this main picture, you can see how the sides have been extended. All right, so let's just focus on this area here. So we take this side and we extend it past. All right, so we know that this here, so angle 2 would be considered an interior angle, but the angle that's created from the extended line is what we call an exterior angle. So that red angle is an exterior angle. And what we're learning is that the sum of an exterior angle and its adjacent interior angle is 180 degrees. Okay, well, there's a lot of things we have to know in order to understand this. We have to understand exterior angles, we have to understand interior angles, and we need to understand the term adjacent. So an adjacent angle is simply two angles that are next to each other. All right, so here angle A and B are adjacent angles because they share a side, okay, and they share a vertex, but they do not overlap each other. So angle A and B in this example are adjacent angles. Now what we know when we have adjacent angles in a straight line, as we do in this example, this is very convenient. Because as it says up here, I know that the angle of a straight line is 180 degrees. So these two adjacent angles together have to add up to 180 degrees. So then, how can I use this information to benefit me? If I'm given an example that involves an exterior angle, am I going to be able to use that to solve a problem? So, having defined some of those things, let's go to the next slide. Oh, I forgot one more thing. So, here, let's say if we're focusing on angle 6 here, if this is our exterior angle, then angle 2 is going to be our adjacent interior angle, like we talked about up here, adjacent interior angle. Well, there's a special name for these other two interior angles. Now, compared to 6, angle 6, these are also interior angles, and they're called remote interior angles. All right, so hence the picture of the remote. And why would they be called remote? Anybody have an idea? That's right. Okay, remote is something that involves a distance. It's unattached, right? When you control your TV with a remote, you don't have a wire from your remote to the TV, right? It is unattached. So we have the adjacent interior angle here, and then we have two unattached interior angles here. All right, and we're going to learn two ways to solve this next problem using the information you've heard here. So if I am given the measure of one of these exterior angles, can I find the rest? Okay, so in this problem, they are telling us the measure of angle 4, and they're telling us that it is 135 degrees. Okay, so the first method, which is probably the easiest, because it involves things that we kind of already understand, is to understand that angle 4 and angle 1 together have to add up to 180. So if I know that angle 4 is 135, I can simply do a 180 minus 135, and I get 45 degrees. So I know that angle 1 is 45 degrees. Now I know two of my angles, and some of you might say, well, no, I only see one. Well, this little box right here, this little red box in the corner, as you all know, is an indication of a right angle, which is 90 degrees. So now I know two angles. I know that we have a 45-degree angle here, a 90-degree angle here. if I add those two together, 90 plus 45, I get 135. Now I know that all the interior angles of a triangle add up to 180. So if I take 180 and subtract the 135, I know that angle 2 is in fact 45 degrees as well, which does make sense in this case. So that would be the first method, knowing that the exterior angle and its adjacent angle add up to 180 degrees. So we can figure out what the adjacent interior angle is and then go from there. Okay? The other option, and only try this if you feel like a little bit of a challenge, is to understand that an exterior angle is going to equal the sum of the two remote interior angles. Okay, so let's break this down. If angle 4 is 135, okay? So actually let me erase here and start over. Angle 4 is 135 degrees. So angle 1 would be an adjacent interior. Angle 2 is going to be a remote interior, and this 90-degree angle is also remote interior. So this equation is saying that our exterior angle of 135 will equal the other two angles added together. Well, we know that one of these angles, this one here, is 90 degrees, but we don't know what angle 2 is. So angle 2 plus 90 degrees should equal 135. Well, what that does is it presents us with a very simple equation. If I subtract 90 from both sides, I know that angle 2 is equal to 45 degrees. So you presented with two different ways to solve that problem. Either use the fact that a straight line is 180 degrees and know that angle 4 and angle 1 together should equal 180 and then solve from there. Or attempt to use this interesting new equation which says an exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. Okay? All right. Do your very best to solve these problems in the Got It. I think it's on the next page. Go ahead and do that by yourself.